Okay, hey, hello everyone, and it's me, Profesor Cañedo, or you can call me El Profesor for these next few weeks. And this is the introduction video for the class for the Chicano Studies 141B class for the second part of the fall semester. And yeah, you're probably wondering about the setting here, about the scenery here. You're probably thinking, well, it looks like Professor is recording from his car. And actually, that's exactly what I'm doing for you guys. I normally record my videos either in my home office or in my backyard. But the past few days have been kind of hectic, kind of chaotic. I've had to drive back and forth over the last few days. So whatever time I can get, and in this case, right here in my car, then definitely I'll go and go that route. But I think for the remainder of the session, for sure for the videos in which I talk about the regular readings and also the videos about the assignments, that'll be in a more traditional type of setting, specifically most likely in my office, in which we take a look at the information about the class at my from my iMac computer. But in essence, what I want to do for you guys for these next few minutes is just give you a little bit of a sense of who I'm about, what the class is all about, all of that fun stuff. So this shouldn't be too long a video. Normally, when I give these introduction videos in the past, they tend to run really long, in that I give a lot of detailed description about a lot of the assignments and the grading and all of that, but I'm going to skip that for later. And I figure when I give videos about some of the specific elements of the class, then I'll go and talk more about what those items are about. But for now, let me go ahead and devote this video to a little bit about myself, my background, my interests, all of that fun stuff. And at this point in time, I've had a chance to read all of your introductions. So those of you who joined the class late, if I haven't read your introduction yet, don't worry, I'll get to you soon. And I did reply to all of you with your introduction, so please feel free to reply to any of my questions or comments that I might have for you with respect to asking you about your education, about your background, about your interests, about your favorite sports teams and music, all of that good stuff. So definitely, please feel free to keep the conversation going in the introductions section. Okay, well, let me quickly say a few things about myself and about my interests, and a quick sketch about the class. And of course, more details about the class will be revealed for the next few weeks. In the course of the announcements, and of course in any of my videos. Well, as I mentioned, I'm Professor Cañedo. Oscar Cañedo is my full name, my real name, and I've been teaching here at Mesa. I've been at Mesa since 2000, doing for the most part the 141A and 141B classes. I've done a lot of the on-campus sections in the past, but for about the past 7 years, my focus has mainly been on the online sections, and I really enjoy teaching the online sections quite a bit. I love experimenting with them, adding new things such as videos and new assignments, modifying the discussion board, and any of the other features. But I still enjoy teaching the on-campus sections, and I was fortunate enough to do one of the on-campus sections of 141A in the spring of last year, spring of 2013. So maybe maybe coming up for 2015, I might be able to do one of the on-campus sections again. Besides Mesa College, I also do a lot of classes at Grossmont College. I've been at Grossmont since about 1997, 98. So I've done a lot of the U.S. classes, both modern and early U.S., history of California, and some of the Latin America classes too. But for the most part, U.S. and California has been, you might say, my bread and butter for Grossmont College. And I've also done a lot of work at Southwestern College too. I just finished up a section of the Mexican American Studies 142 class, which is the equivalent for the 141B class. So a lot of the videos that I'll present to you for these next few weeks will actually be repeats of videos that I did for the 141B class. So even though I might say I might have different dates and different terminology in terms of the administrative stuff, like I said, especially about the dates, the content is still the same, so don't worry about it too much. If I give you old videos, again, don't pay attention to any of the dates, just focus in on the content in terms of what the videos are all about, in terms of whether it's discussing a specific assignment, or in most cases, it'll be a preview of the readings. And coming up this week will be the first of the preview videos about the regular readings. So the readings from both textbooks, the Beyond 1848, and also Crucible of Struggle, and also about the various articles in the learning modules. I'll give you a lot of those videos, which are the videos that I did for the Southwestern class a few weeks ago. So even though these are old videos, they're still fairly fresh. These are a lot of videos that I did from the span of August into about early October. So these aren't really old things that I did about 2-3 years ago, in which the dates are really way off. They're still fairly recent in terms of talking about what the information of the readings is all about. So every Monday starting this week, in the weekly module section, I'll post these videos which go along with the module, with the overview essay. So you'll have two resources to better help you understand the course of the readings: the written essay, the module overviews, which tell you what the best path is with respect to the readings and the videos, a lot of the main themes and elements, and my videos, which will be more or less a recap or a bit of a review of what I mentioned in the overview essay. So you've got two things to work with respect to the readings for the next few weeks. Let's see what else I should mention. Oh, other places I've taught. I've been at Cuyamaca College. I've also taught a few classes over at Palomar. One semester I actually did a class at Camp Pendleton. That was really quite an very interesting and quite an amazing learning experience. And I've also done a few classes for City College. In fact, I started off at City in 1998, 1999, and then I went to Mesa around 2000. But City, along with Southwestern and Grossmont, was, you might say, where I got my feet wet in doing a lot of these classes. In terms of my teaching interests, I really enjoy teaching this class quite a bit. I like comparing what's happening in the Chicano period with respect to what's happening in the wider context of U.S. history. So there'll be a lot of coverage of U.S. history elements, such as things like the Cold War, also events pertaining to World War I, and events happening into the 1960s too. That is with respect to the Civil Rights Movement, with John F. Kennedy, with Lyndon Johnson, Robert Kennedy, Martin Luther King. So there'll be a lot of coverage of a lot of currents in U.S. history as we compare that with a more narrow scope of Chicano studies. So if you like modern U.S. history, then you'll be in for a treat, because there'll be a lot of elements in which we correlate with what's happening in modern U.S. history topics. Okay. As my other teaching interests, I did the 141A class in the first 8-week session, so a lot of topics about the Maya, about the Toltecs, the Zapotecs, the Teotihuacan, and of course the Spaniards. I really enjoyed covering those topics, the Reconquista. Quite a few of you who are in this class were with me in the 141A class, so I'm really happy that you decided to stick with me for this for the second part of the Chicano 141 sequence. And as for my U.S. classes, I really enjoy covering Manifest Destiny, the U.S.-Mexico War, and into the 20th century too, and in California history too. I'm really interested in terms of the topics of the Gold Rush period, the California. So California in the early 19th century, early to mid 19th century. That's one period I really like to dig deep into when I do the History of California class for Grossmont College. And of course, those of you who were with me in the 141A class, we got a pretty good sense of California history too. In about the final few weeks of the session. All right, in terms of other things about El Profesor, I'm a native of the San Diego area, born and raised there, but I don't live there now. In fact, where I'm recording right now, this is actually here in Riverside County. This is actually, of all places, near the area where the Southwest Justice Center is. So don't worry, this isn't a sign of things to come. This isn't a place where El Profesor, you might say, spends a lot of time here. This just so happens that the Justice Center is right near my house. I actually live here in an area of Riverside County, which is north of Temecula, east of Murrieta, south of Hemet. It's called Winchester for the Postal Service purposes, but geographically it's called French Valley. So this area has multiple names. You can call it Murrieta, Temecula, French Valley, Winchester. I tend to alternate between all four of them, but most likely when I refer to where I am in my announcements, I'll probably stick with the French Valley designation. But again, it's an unincorporated patch of Riverside County off the 79 on the way to Hemet if you're coming in from Temecula off the 15. I've been out here for a couple of years now. I used to live in National City. I lived out there for the majority of my life, all the way into 2012, when I finally moved out of there. It was kind of bittersweet in leaving National City, but I'm really enjoying living it out here, and thankfully with these online classes, which definitely don't have to worry too much about the commute, on the regular commute from Temecula into San Diego, Chula Vista, National City, back and forth. I still enjoy doing the on-campus sections, but for the most part, as long as all my classes are for the most part online only, that really helps quite a bit, especially with the commuting part. In terms of interests, background, things of that nature. Well, first off, like I said, I was born and raised in National City. I went to the whole school business in the South Bay, in Chula Vista, Kimball Elementary in National City, Hilltop Junior and Hilltop High in Chula Vista. And as for college, I stayed in the area. My BA is in anthropology from UCSD, and my master's is in Latin American Studies from San Diego State. And then it was pretty much as I was getting ready to graduate in the late 90s when I started teaching in the late 1990s. So roughly about 97, 98 was when I started in this business for both Southwestern and Grossmont colleges, and then Mesa College, as I mentioned a little bit later on after that. Finally, in terms of my interests, in terms of things that El Profesor likes to do when he's not being El Profesor, I'm a big fan of watching sports on TV. That's I guess you might say my main vice, so to speak. I was a little bit disappointed in both my two teams in baseball. The Dodgers and Tigers got knocked out in the playoffs. But hockey's my big sport, so the season's just going on right now. So anytime the Ducks and Red Wings do well, I'm a very happy camper. Basketball, I like the Clippers, but I'm not a big fanatic about them. But I definitely like to see them succeed. Football, since there's no team in LA, I guess there's really no team that I'm really gung-ho about. Of course, like many of my high school friends, still gung-ho about the Chargers. Some are still fans of the Raiders. I guess if I had to pick a team, it had to be the Lions. They're actually doing pretty good right now. But like I said, I would say baseball and hockey. Those are my two sports that I watch on a regular basis on TV. And when I have time, I go check out games. So I used to see a lot of games up in Anaheim back in the 90s up to about the mid 2000s, but not so much anymore. Ticket prices, of course, astronomical no matter what sport you're talking about. But eventually, at some point in time, I'd like to see the Ducks in the not too distant future. Let's see what else. In terms of pets, I've got some feline friends. So I've got two Persians, London and Sniffles, and one albino named Nick. You're gonna meet them quite a bit in some of my older videos. So in fact, maybe not this week, but in the next couple of weeks, you get to see Nick in action. He's quite rambunctious. He likes to interrupt me when I do a lot of the videos. Outside in my patio in the backyard. And finally, other interests in terms of music. Big fan of the rock and roll of the 1970s, 1980s, so all the classic, you might say, hair metal rock and roll bands, Def Leppard, early Bon Jovi, Motley Crue, Rat, and then even bands from the 70s like Boz Scaggs, Supertramp, Deep Purple, Steely Dan, all of that stuff. So anything in the 1970s, 1980s is pretty much my range in terms of the stuff I listen to. A lot of these bands are still touring, so anytime there's a band playing, whether it's at one of the casinos in the nearby area, because I'm just a short drive from the Temecula, from the Pachanga Casino. Harris not too far down the road from me. I'll check out some bands there, and I'll actually be seeing Def Leppard pretty soon, coming up in early November. So looking forward to seeing those guys again. And let's see, any other interests I should think of? I should say at this point in time, I think that pretty much covers it. So like I said, let me go ahead and reserve discussing a lot of the key elements about the class in future videos. But for now, I figure it's just important to give you a sense of what El Profesor was all about as he's sitting in his car at this point in time. All right, well, that's it from here. That's it from the French Valley area. Again, all remaining videos for the rest of the session will be in a more traditional setting, either in my home office or in my backyard patio. I think this will be about the only video you have for the session, which I'm kind of on the run. You might say like a fugitive from justice before the authorities come and get me. And speaking of which, a couple of sheriff cars just went by, so I better stop filming before one of them starts to think that I might be doing something I don't know, less than less than kosher, for lack of a better term. Okay, that's it from here. That's it from French Valley. That's it from my car. So I'm happy to have all you guys in the class. I'm glad that I had a chance to read all your introductions. Again, those of you who added late, I haven't posted your introductions. Don't worry, I'll check in with you guys real soon. So I'm looking forward to being your instructor and professor for these next few weeks, so I hope you guys like the class. Any concerns or questions from now on, please start using Messages for Professor in Blackboard. Don't use my email anymore. It's okay for the first week for any, especially for people who are trying to add the class to check with me with my email. But from now on, please get into habit using Messages for Professor in Blackboard. That's the easiest way in which I can reply to in a very timely, more efficient manner. All right, so it's great being your professor, your el professor for these next few weeks. I look forward to chatting and talking with each and every one of you. We're going to have online chat sessions, online office hours coming up this Thursday. I'll give you more details coming up in the announcement section in the next couple of days. So that's it from here. You guys take care, and I'll talk to you guys again very soon. And in my next video, I'll give you a preview of what's happening for the readings for the second week.